Mm.
it's like this like experiential based part of life. Like it's the nurture of our nature, and just leaning more into that of like how to adapt to it, understand it, and then how to evolve it into something that's a bit more adaptive for wherever you're at in life.
Can you guys help me?
Yeah, yeah,
I need help
we all
breaking
do,
out of
man.
that. Welcome to Graphic Content, the podcast where we talk all things who, why, and what the f. Today, I'm talking to a lovely pair that I have had the honor of collaborating with. He is a nature therapist and registered clinical counselor. She is a holistic nutritionist with a background in yoga and kinesiology. And together, they have formed Arrive Wellness. Keegan and Jessica Baulkham.
Thanks, Gio. Nice to be here.
Thanks for
Yes.
having us.
Oh, no problem, honestly. So how have you guys been? It's been a hot minute since we not parted ways, but since we finished the branding project for you guys.
hmm Yeah, things have been good. Things have been like really picking up. Just finished up school in December of this year. So it's like a new like evolution of the business. Like as you know, we've been kind of like picking and prodding at this thing for the last like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of stepped into it doing the nature therapy stuff and like clinical counseling things. And now Jess is like, yeah, we're like forming, bonding into this like what we've been dreaming about. So it's been really freaking cool to see how it's all been evolving. So busy things.
Definitely feeling the pickup of energy of like springtime, summertime, more sunshine, and just like feeling the vibration of it all in like the external life, but also in our partnership and the internal stuff as well. So it's a great time to be alive.
Oh, honestly, I definitely feel that too. When I started thinking about this project, it was in the fall when I sat down to do it for real, and I knew energetically, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to launch this in the new year. Just January is not the time for me because dead of winter, it's hibernation, right? What are we doing here?
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to the first episode came out at like spring equinox, like the 19th of March. So I was like, I'm trying to go with the energies of the world and pick up on that. Cause I'm like, let's think a little bit more like what's been around forever. You know what I mean? Like what is something that every year is the same cycle? So let's try to follow that trend, let's say, and hopefully this works out. But I totally feel you that like it feels like things are back in my life is moving much quicker, and it sounds like you're in it right now with everything that you're doing through Arrive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you guys have going on this summer? I know like you guys are out west in Kelowna. No, wait,
Victoria. Yeah.
Right. And so right now this is like peak time that you're moving into.
Absolutely. And it's cool to see uh, like like a chariot to like the seasons. It's like, oh cool, like what are we all beyond what we think we are? It's like, oh, we're still nature, we're still very much animals, and to be able to accommodate like that system, just a smart way to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And like similarly, it's like the wintertime was so like hibernation mode, and it was like epic. It was so nice to like be in the flow and like just get into that nitty-gritty reflection. And now it's like full summer here, so like with like we like really base our trajectory off like Chinese medicine, and like May 1st is like summer. So like we're getting into that like the light, all like the birds are singing, the flowers are popping, like we're already in our second cycle of like springtime energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to be cruising into like the enjoyment of summer here. It's really beautiful, and people love to be outside, so we like to be outside with them. So all of our groups, all of our like client load now is like transitioning primarily to outdoors, and it's like our like favorite time to like really dive into people's like inspirations and innovations.
Yeah, and your whole platform is based on merging of the self with your surroundings within the natural world, and that to me makes perfect sense that you guys would operate also as in that way.
Yes, absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about, because I know, but for anybody who's listening, talk a little bit about how Arrive Wellness came to be, where this idea came from, and how you basically brought it to life. I want to say manifested, but you did the work. You didn't just think about it.
Yeah. It started off as manifesting though, like way back when, like Jess and I have worked in the service industry together for, I think it was back in like 2011, 2012. We started like working together, and like we were partners before that, a few years before, and then we started working together, and we're just like really like stoked on like being around each other in that professional setting. Like we obviously love being around each other in the personal setting. We have a lot of fun and we play really hard and adventure a lot together.
Oh, I know.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
we have
as you
together.
well. Yeah,
You know.
yeah, you know us. And then it just kind of evolved. Like we had, like we loved like throwing gatherings, like hosting people. Like
Mhm.
we started off like bartending and like with supporting events and like hosting gatherings and stuff. And like we found like how beautiful it is to, like be in community, everyone having a good time. It's like
Yeah,
why not? Like we need more of this in the world. And then it kind of like shifted into this like, well, how do we do this beyond just the restaurant? Like we had this like little lounge that we were managing at the time, and like we were like throwing events, doing all these things. Like, what does it look like if we like expand a little bit
yeah,
and kind of getting away from like we love food and drink, and we're kind of getting into more of the wellness things. Like how do we create sustainability and still provide drink, service, and food in a more like wellness, well-being way? And then we're just like, boom, like what do we need? Like Jess and I were both in our undergrads at the time. We're like, let's focus in on like the wellness industry. Like that's something that we really want to be doing. Living in Edmonton at the time, there wasn't a huge wellness vibe going on in the
yeah. That's not
prairies.
necessarily the focus.
Yeah, so we were like, let's do it. Like let's create this thing. And that evolved into Jess supporting me through school, getting my master's in psych. And then once I finished that, I supported Jess through her Ayurvedic body work, yoga, and nutrition. And then we're kind of tagging it. It's like, hey, you're it. You go to school, and then I did the school. So we just like went back and forth with each other, and then like naturally arrival, and it's just kind of like appeared. I remember working with you and like, what's your company name? I'm like, we should probably get one of those.
Yeah.
Like we should probably create a container for what we do. And it's like, then Arrive came. It's like, what do we love to do most in the world? And it's arriving together in community. Like we
Mhm.
love the way that food and like drink and gatherings just like sunk us into like real deep conversation. So it's like, how do we do more of that? And like that's kind of like the epitome of what Arrive is. It's play, it's nature, and it's community. Like it's all the three things that we love the most in the world, all like boxed into one thing. And now we're doing it in a wellness vibe. Like we're just kind of stepped away from hospitality. We still do the odd event here and there with hospitality, but we've been loving the outdoors and working together in this capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also arriving in the present moment. All of those things like play, adventure, community, nature, it's all about being here right now and like arriving into that space, which is it's a practice. So it makes sense that that would be the name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And sidebar, I just want to say the fact that you mentioned Ayurvedic. How do you say it? Ayurvedic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So literally this morning, I was getting my haircut, and my barber was talking to me about his aunt who studied Ayurvedic diet or something along those lines. So once again, like not to be too woo woo, but you guys, we have these conversations, so it's okay. But the fact that I had this conversation today, and then you're saying it now, like to me, it's that's the universe bringing like this is we're supposed to be here right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
literally
call
was like,
that.
it's so funny. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like we just call that like we like to be like woo chic, like a
Yeah.
little bit of woo. And we like to like
One woo.
bring a little bit of style, a little bit of flavor to it too.
I love that. That's honestly like I lately I've been very much noticing so many things, just little nudges, little reassurances, if that's the word,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm on the right path. And when I talk to people in this way, where not everybody, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm this elevate or evolved human, but I feel like when I have these conversations, especially with you guys working through the branding and everything, and having these, I'm like, we are very much in that same mind space of if you approach life in a bit more of a positive outlook, and you're like, okay, let's actually like take the reins a little bit, work hard, but have a goal and envision what we want, like you said, the manifesting of the business. I think that life is a little bit more, it flows a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big part of this like arriving. It is like we use it in like verbiage now. It's like, how do we arrive? Like, what is it to like, how do like we are arriving right now? And it's the more like we pay attention, that we found like we paid attention to like our internal cycles and internal maps, how much that like just spews out into our world. Like if you're willing to put the work in like for yourself, whether it be like diet, exercise, nature time, community, whatever that looks like, the world seem or your reality anyway seems to like flow so much better when you're like in authentic, like working
100%.
within authenticity and truth. And a big part of like that, I know the manifestation is like one of those words like, ooh, kind of like you stay away from it. But
Yes.
like the premise of that is just like letting go of how you get there. So if we're like dialed in with like who we want to be and act in authenticity with that, then naturally whatever is needing to come from that is going to arrive. And here there again is like that, it is there for who wants it. It's just a matter of being patient and like knowing like who you are within that process. And I think that's a big part of this is letting go of how you are going to receive the things that you want, and just being who you are and knowing that whatever comes to you is going to be there in the right time.
And it's all
100%.
about like being in that moment too. Like in my studies, I've learned about actually like the science behind manifestation. There's a system called the reticular activating system that it's like the same thing when you're like, I'm going to go buy a new car and then you see that car everywhere.
Yes.
It's exactly that system. So your brain is just tuned to those things. So it is like woo woo, but we're also, it's kind of the idea of like all of these, traditional Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, where we're coming back to it and we're being like, this has made sense for so long. Why? And we haven't been able to find the answers, but now answers are starting to come out. And it's really cool to actually, my science brain loves diving into that to kind of like, share with non-believers.
So Jess, on that note, have you had any like breakthroughs with people? Because if you're coming at it from a scientific point of view, you're like, I've studied this, I know what I'm talking about, and the woo woo is real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, this is not a joke. And have you seen kind of the shift in perspectives of people that you work with?
Totally. Yeah. Like something as simple as that, right? Where I'm like, have you ever had something in your life like that where you're looking to buy a car, you just notice something right away? We're talking about manifestation or, energetic things. Someone's eating a smoothie for breakfast every morning and they're like, having digestive issues. And we talk about the energetics of that being really cold and that the digestive fire and like we have acid in our stomach. And just like, I think it's that we, don't necessarily look in a different perspective, but when people are offered that perspective, it's people are pretty readily open to receiving it. And even if it takes a little bit of time, sometimes I can see it like, I think that makes sense. And there's like the people that are like, I'm going to go home and research this. And I'm like, please do. Like, I would
Mm.
tell me, like, I'm always continually learning as well. And that's what I think is so fascinating, is being able to like share knowledge with people and that be like a reciprocal relationship. Yeah, it fires me up.
I think too, maybe I'm assuming, but I feel like people that are coming to you, both of you in your work, they're already looking, they're wanting a change. They're looking for a shift in how they live their lives. And so there is that slight openness, obviously not always 100%, but they come to you with that want of to like learn and to change.
Totally. Yeah, that seems like attracts like, I suppose.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I find like in the practice, like as we were saying, like the words too, like staying away from like the big like activating words, and it's using language that makes sense for the individual to ease into these concepts, because like there's so much like emotionality around the certain language that we use in whatever situation, like just like cringe, like it's the word, the crowd cringe has popped up in our vernacular the last few years.
Oh yeah,
It's that
big
feeling of like,
time.
ugh, it doesn't make me feel good. But that's like the block of energy that comes up. It's like, no, I'm going to say a hard no to that, because anything associated with that word doesn't work for me. So it's dancing around that concept in different ways in order for it to feel good, because it's just the way things are. So regardless of like how we want to imagine things are, like allowing ourselves a deep dive into these like different parts of like patterning within like reality, it is the isness of life, like regardless of like how we think about it. But it's cool to see people have the aha moment. It's like, ah, yeah, that's
Hmm.
good. And it's like, oh, I'm not going to tell you what the word is that people use to describe that, because the essence of what that experience is will be lost in how you are told to believe about it.
100%. Do you, so for both of you working in wellness, like what are, because like there's like the TikTok world we live in this social media where everyone's a professional of something, or everyone's an expert. And so like, is there anything in the health and wellness world that makes you cringe, that you're like, I can't with that right now? Please, I will.
This is a good one for Jess. Yeah.
um yeah, I think for me the hard one is like fad diets or
Mm,
someone online, and it's something that I find myself editing myself as well. There's no one size fits all. We're all beautifully unique, and that is something that is cringy for me when there isn't a disclaimer for that. So someone's like, do the carnivore diet,
oh
rah.
my God.
Do a vegan diet, rah. Yes, those are both valid diets. Who's the individual? Who are we looking at? And so that can be kind of cringy for me sometimes, where it's like implied that this this food or this diet or perspective is for all.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I know.
that's not true.
Yeah. The carnivore is crazy. I'm sorry. Like I love meat, but seeing people being like, this is what I ate in a day, and it's just like yesterday, honestly, I was scrolling through Instagram or something, and I saw there was this woman, and she was posting, her breakfast alone was a bunch of boiled eggs. She had bacon strips. She had a sockeye salmon, like tuna can, or can of fish, and then pork rinds. And she's like, this is my breakfast. I'm like, that's nuts to me. I could not imagine eating that every day. I'm like, it's too much. Like, it's too much.
It's
And I
too
love
much.
meat.
Yeah, yeah, that's the individuality of it, right? And I mean, the carnivore diet has shown some good benefits for certain conditions. And so, again, saying like, this is my breakfast, cool. Not everybody needs to do that. You love meat, like, still don't want to eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's all about listening to your gut, right? Your
Mm.
intuition. You know your own body best.
Going off of that too, like I think that's like when it's really beautiful to see, like I really appreciate social media for the sense like alternate perspectives and allowing people to like hear all the things. I think where the challenge is when people attach to those concepts. They're like, oh, I'm
Yes.
gonna follow this person because I want to be like this person. So they attach to like what their patterning is. It's like, oh, like that might be serve you, bring some challenges along the way because that person found out what worked really well for them. Their plan is not to be taken very strictly in structure with so much structure because it's not how your genetic or social DNA is wrapped up to be able to support that type of feeling. So what worked for that person sharing all the TikTok stuff, cool, that worked for them, but just recognize that, take the little nuggets out of that and then apply whatever works for you. Like that's a big part for mine is like this like wave of like CBT and doing like just like this is what to do in order to be held like to like regulate your emotions. Like for some people just allow yourself to be okay, similar with like with Jess's work too. It just what works for you, what feels good to practice, because as soon as you find your practice then you're going to find your life. But it's this attachment to things like I see that's working for them, therefore I must change everything that I'm doing because I want what they have. And we only see these 30-second clips.
It's so crazy. People will shift their lives over content. I'm like, why don't you live in it a little bit and actually think about, you know what I mean? Like people will change their
Mhm.
whole existence and reality, or their personality around something like, oh, I want to emulate this because this works for somebody else. And I've never been the one to, you pick up things here and there, and you're like, okay, this
Mhm.
might work for me. Let me try it out. But long term, honestly, I'm just doing me. I'm generally fine. I'm like, come on, let's just
Yes.
Good.
like, what are we doing? Like, I don't want to. First of all, I don't want to emulate anyone else. Like, that doesn't seem authentic to me. It'd be like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna follow, like, what's that, Liver King or whatever his name is,
Oh,
the guy who eats raw liver. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. But I want to go back to what you, Keegan, you had mentioned something about social DNA.
Hmm.
What is that? Because I literally don't know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's this something I've been like kind of working with lately. Like there's a genetic DNA and a social DNA.
Okay.
So the social DNA, like genetic is pretty basic. It's bio. It's like how our cells are actually organized. And I find how like the social DNA is like the expression of that. So like we hear about like ancestral traumas or like these traumas that experienced in our family that are like are passed down to us. And that's where I find what social DNA is. It's like this, how we show up in our lives and the patterning that is essentially holding us into those types of circumstances and relationships. So how do we reconstruct our social DNA in order to reflect more of like how we want to live authentically, knowing full well that based upon our past experiences, we are going to have a starter pack of what our existence looks like that we don't really have much say in. Like from a
No.
very young age, we're like told to do this, told not to do this, like where whatever that is, and that's like what I like. I'm like coining essentially social DNA.
Mm.
It's like this like experiential based part of life. Like it's the nurture of our nature, and just leaning more into that of like how to adapt to it, understand it, and then how to evolve it into something that's a bit more adaptive for wherever you're at in life.
Can you guys help me?
Yeah, yeah,
I need help
we all
breaking
do,
out of
man.
that. I mean, like with you two, I feel, I don't know. This is also third party look from the outside looking in. I feel like the two of you together, especially with both of your backgrounds, your experience, that as a professional pair and as a personal pair, that you two can really like suss out any issues fairly quickly when it comes to like how do we just evolve and be better.
It's taken some trial and error, I think,
Yeah.
though. I
Mhm.
mean, this has been a 15-year partnership for us. So it's, I mean, it wasn't always like this, but I think it's like this curiosity piece where we're
Mhm.
always like, and it's something that I work on too, is like being willing to make the mistake and be like, oh, that was definitely not it. And why did I go down that rabbit hole for
Hmm.
so long? Right.
Hmm.
But being able to, you're totally right, being able to kind of have each other to bounce ideas off of and to be like, hey, something's like to have that outside of yourself. Like, you know, we spend so much of our time together. Like, hey, I'm noticing that this has shifted. How is that feeling for
Mhm.
you? And that check in where we're both kind of responsible for each other and then willing to receive that and be curious about it is a huge blessing.
There was so much emotion when he first started because we've been together for 15 years. Like we got together just out of high school. So there's a lot of big emotions in your late teens, early
Yeah.
20s, and then bring in service industry. So in the hospitality industry, like there was a lot of partying. There's a lot of like usage, like with reading alcohol and other like altered state substances. Like there was a lot of big emotions. So everything got like blown up very quickly. So it's like, well, now that everything's blown up, what do we want to do about it? Because there's so many times where it's like, hey, well, how many times like we wanted to step away? It's like, no, this isn't working. We got to go. Like, and that's just not an option because when you see like the connection that is outside of those big emotions, you see like what is worthwhile connecting to. And that's like where this, I think now in our work together, it's allowing people space to like, oh, cool, like whatever you want to talk about, let's share it. Like the room is yours, the space is yours to share. And what is now that you said this, like what's going on underneath that? Like what is happening
Yes.
in your current circumstance that is bringing up these present emotions or these thoughts? And let's work with that because based upon with our experience working again, a lot of what I do is similar to what I was doing bartending. Like these big emotions when people are getting like under the influence and like these big things, and you hold space for that, and then as soon as like that's done, then you get into the real stuff. It's like, cool, you had your little like fit, and now we're going to talk about what's going on for real. And it was usually a deep sadness, it's usually a deep loneliness, it's usually
Hmm.
like these parts of like a disconnection. And knowing that about humanity allows a little bit more like grace when we're working with people because we know people are in different places at whatever part they are in life, and we also see how great people can be because we've been around so many people for so many years. Like I've been working in the industries for 20 years. I started when I was 14, and like here I am still working amongst people, and there's so much similarities amongst what people need, and it's connection so that they can be vulnerable, so they can share what they authentically need, and it kind of wraps around that again.
And I feel like the two of you, having known you now for, I think, a decade, I think I've known you for 10
Mhm.
years, which is
Yeah.
wild. It makes sense that the two of you, A, have remained together and have built this business, this brand together in the way that you have, because both of you have such calming, neutralizing energy that, you know, I'm me. Like I can be OTT over the top. And so I know that. And I've definitely calmed down over the years, but I feel like the two of you, you just have a like I just feel like heard, even if it's just
Mhm.
like at a party or whatever, you're both very like, I'm going to stare and I'm going to look into your eyes and connect with you in a way that is authentic and real, and like you're listening. And so for for the two of you to be doing what you're doing, it makes total sense. I'm not surprised, and you're exactly where you need to be from my
Oh,
perspective.
thank
Thanks, Gio.
you.
Yeah.
But seriously, even working through the branding, like we worked on everything together for a few months, and the whole process was very streamlined in the sense that you guys had an idea of what you wanted. You'd already kind of built something that we had worked upon, but you knew that you wanted it to come from a place of authenticity, but also something that is like conscious. You're like, everything we're doing is a conscious decision in how we want to present ourselves, who we're trying to attract, which is, you know, you want to work with people in general. So it's not like a specific type. Even like going through the initial discovery call where I'm like, okay, who do you want to talk to? And you're like, humans. Like we're just people in general, right? This isn't like a boutique clothing store where we have like a specific type of person. But that whole process was very seamless because I think that me through with what I do and then working with the two of you, knowing you, it was much easier process.
Yeah, and we are so grateful for you and like being able to bring our
That was
stuff
not my
out.
intention for you to say
Yeah,
that.
no, but
That was
it's
what I was
true
thinking
though.
too. Yeah.
Like it's one thing to feel these things, and Jess and I are both very feelers. Like we feel a lot, and we feel with like, yeah, we feel a lot, and for us to like articulate it and the imagery, just it's not there. Like we don't have that. It's like you were saying, like we're the people that are like, let's go for a walk, let's go talk, let's get into the heart space with each other, like let's like see what we're needing. And then it's like, well, what do you want to do, or like what does it look like? I'm like, I don't know, that's for somebody else to decide. Like it's like we're just being us right now. So for you to be able to have, for us to be able to like be guided through that, it's like we pick this, and all of a sudden like you come back with this like this masterpiece of exactly like who we are. We're like, whoa, it's so cool to see our dreams into like one little like template, like
Like a
that
tangible format and visual, and yeah, it
that
was
little
perfect.
that little booklet that you gave us at the end of it, or the marketing booklet or whatever
The
that
brand
little,
guide.
the brand
Yeah.
guide. We were sharing it to like our family and friends. We're like, this is exactly you. I'm like, I know, it's so good. So
Yay.
it's
You
so,
crushed it.
and this is another part of that. It's like it's so important to be in community because we're like not everyone is meant to be doing everything. So like do
Girl.
your thing very well so that other people can do their thing very well. And if
Mhm.
all parties are living in that like, I'm saying authentic a lot, but it's authenticity. Like
Yeah.
if all parties are in that place, everything's going to be working so cohesively, and it's going to turn out really great. Which is, I think, it's a really like testament to like just the three of us being able to like be on the same page. Like, wicked, this is what we're doing. We're going to be talking our truth, regardless of how hard or uncomfortable it is, and we're going to get shit done. And we got
Yeah.
shit done, and it's wicked to see.
Yeah, it's important, honestly, because at the end of the day, what I do is I'm helping you tell your story. It's storytelling, whether it's through this format, whether it's through visual. Like that's my whole platform. As I've evolved through or like grown up, basically, I'm realizing that that's my whole platform is around communication. What allows me to do the work that I do effectively is to actually hear and understand the person. Like I always say, when I do a discovery call with a client at the beginning of a project, it's like a first date. I'm trying to get to know you. I already knew you guys from before, but it was, I'm trying to get the real, like the deep in. What are your goals? What's your mission in this? Where are we going with this? What do you want to do? Where do you see this evolving in 5, 10 years? So that way I can at least set myself up and you for success, so that when you do expand, when you do feel like, okay, we can grow the brand beyond just the two of us, let's say, then we've done it properly where we're able to tell that story. And so I appreciate the kind words. That was not my intention in talking about that. I just,
So need to
but
be
thank you. I appreciate
yeah.
it.
It couldn't be left unsaid. I was thinking the same thing, so I'm glad you said it too. Yeah.
As we've gotten older, because we were in our 20s, and you're young and you don't have you're not fully formed, and I don't think we are fully formed now either. But I think as we've grown up, like we've evolved in similar ways where we're conscious humans. We think about how we affect those around us. We want to do better. We want to leave whatever we walk away from in a better state than how we left it. Just that baseline there was enough for us to have a successful partnership and collaboration in the work. Now that you guys have been up and running for how long? When did we finish? Like I don't even remember.
September,
Okay.
October was the launch. Yeah, because it's like right
Shoot.
after
Right.
whatever holidays in October. Harvest.
Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
Harvest.
harvesting October.
The
Yeah.
harvest.
Hey, you know
Harvesting
what?
our abundance.
That's on brand once again
Yeah.
for you to say that instead of like Halloween or Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're like however many months in. Like, how has it been since you've launched, and what have you guys been working on?
Yeah, it's kind of like a turning point right now, because what we worked on like just became this beautiful structure for more questioning on like, okay, yeah, like how do we want this to grow? And so in our business, we're working kind of like on train tracks. We're parallel to each other. Keegan's doing his practice, I'm doing my practice. We come together to do, partnerships here and there with other people, but right now our big focus is how do we actually get working together again. That was the goal of this.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like creating this structure, and then how do we now kind of bring those train tracks to meet and become one thing. And so right now that looks like wellness workshops and groups. So we have our first group, nature group. It'll be like a 3-hour session out in nature. That is at the end of the month. So we're pretty stoked about that. And then the plan kind of moving forward is going to be longer groups, longer workshops, longer circle type settings, and then eventually retreats. So we're pretty excited. This year, the goal is kind of running these smaller workshops and then doing some homework where we're going to go and attend a few retreats and just see what do we love about this? What would we shift? What can we learn? Can we pop in to facilitate like an hour in this weekend workshop and get our faces and our names out there? So it's a pretty exciting time, because I guess 7 months and then it already feels like we're kind of like flipping the coin and creating the other half of it, which feels really good.
And for mine, it's like I've been full blown. Like Jess is just finishing up school in December, so the first month we actually worked together outside of school. So sidebar, we've been together for 15 years. It is the first time we've ever existed together ever in January of this year that none of us has been in school. It's the first time we have not ever been in
Celebrate.
school. It was so good. But that was the plan. It was like we're like, you go do school, I do school. Like we needed one person to support while the other one went to educate, and we kind of flip flopped. So like it really started in January, but for October, it was so nice because I stepped away into my own my private practice away out of like clinic spaces in, I think it must have been like November of the year prior. So it's kind of like balancing through this like, who am I? What am I doing? I know
Yeah.
like what I do, and I do it like I do very well. So what is it beyond like, who am I? Who's the brand that I need to be going out there? So having arrived now, like having a website, having like a place where people can go that feel really good, like the referrals that were coming in, and because of that as well, it's like, hey, go check out my website. Like my ability to just not even think about it, because I wasn't judging it, because before I was like my own Wix platform and it looked okay. It was there just to be there, but to be able to have confidence in like, go check out my website. If you have any questions, let me know. And that confidence in like my own, because I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to sell myself, because all of who I am was already somewhere else. So I was like, just go take a look at the website. Go take a look at the website. And people loved it. And people were like messaging, it's like, I'm so down with what you guys are doing. Like how can we support? How can I work with you? And having like these little trails, and like momentum was starting to be built. And it's like this little teeny tiny fire. And then we're putting like a little log on here, a little log on here. And now we're getting to like the months of like, ooh, now we got to like kind of like tame this fire, because it's gonna be getting pretty big, and we're feeling the heat coming with that too. It's gonna be big.
Yeah. You gotta play with matches. You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
it's been a big, what, I don't even know how long it's been, a couple seasons, and coming into it, like I'm excited. Like even as you're sharing before, like what's gonna happen this time next year is like, it's like exponential when you step into your own, and like it's like the universe is
100%.
like waiting for you. It's like as soon as you put yourself into that position and like wrap yourself up in this identity, then the universe is like, oh, there you are, thank you,
We've
welcome.
been
And
waiting.
exactly, like welcome in. The door, the gateless gate kind of opens, and then here you are
Mhm.
experiencing all this like beauty of existence.
100%. And that you saying the confidence piece, that's literally what I say all the time. My role is to help my clients feel confident to sell themselves, to be able to say, yeah, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, and not be sheepish about presenting themselves to the world. Because
Mhm.
it's like wearing like a suit, you know what I mean? You're like, I feel good about myself, I'm
Mhm.
a little stuffy, but I'll get over it, because at the end of the day, this is going to benefit me. And yeah, and I'm so happy to hear it. Honestly, like, the two of you deserve the world. You work hard, you're good people, and you have a very good platform that is actually helping people in a way that is going to shift people's perspectives on how they can live their lives. That's important, especially now, I think. And the tides have turned where a lot of people are moving towards it, because we're realizing as a society what has been is not working. It's
Mhm.
not working for us anymore. We need to shift it.
It's inevitable, like the switch that's happening, and we're feeling it. Like especially like in my practice, like I'm most of my practices, like I do like with psychotherapy, so with people and they're very vulnerable, like fear, anger, sadness places, and people are feeling it. Like people have been feeling it for a while, and the devices or vices that we have typically gone to in order to escape or to like get some soothing through scrolling or games or whatever, it's losing its like vitality, and people are starting to become a bit scared because like, well, what do I do when I can't scroll my phone and have that like dopamine hit anymore?
Yeah.
Like where am I going? And that's like why a big part of like what Arrive is there to catch you when the things that you're currently doing are no longer working, and like to hold you in that process, because it's inevitable. Like it's we're living in a society or community or that is expected on exponential growth forever, and that just it's not how anything works. So why are we basing our communities and society off of those things? So essentially we're here for the inevitable fall of like, okay guys, like it's not it's not going to happen. Like this is going in a direction, and when it does happen, we need people who are conscious, who are aware, who are healthy and safe places to go, so when things do get bad, that there are places where people can be allocated to feel safe, so that they know that they don't have to do this alone.
Yeah, I definitely, you talking about the, things that don't work anymore, the self-soothing or whatever. A
Mm.
big thing for me, you guys met me. We were all in our party phase when we
Mhm.
first met,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was like, like any 20 something, I was out there in the world getting just like what's that girl from Scary Movie where she's like getting buck wild in the jacuzzi, like like I was I was crazy in my 20s. And you go through phases, and now I realize, like, I got to a point where I'm like, okay, certain things are just not, like drinking, like, so I haven't
Mhm.
drank alcohol in 2 years. And for me, that
Mm.
was, when I made the decision, it was very easy, because I was like,
Mhm.
this isn't serving me, like, I don't need this, I don't even want to drink, like, I don't like it, so I'm going to stop.
Mhm.
10 years ago, me, like, that's never going to happen, like, I love
Yeah.
to go out, and it was a like a social lubricant for me. Obviously, for a lot
Mhm.
of people, I'm a good person, but I would make bad decisions when I would drink all the time. And some people still don't come to that conclusion of, like, oh, this thing that I like to do is actually destroying me. Why don't I
Yeah.
just pull it out of my life, or like my rotation of cycles from week to week, and see what happens? And that to me was like a game changer. I'm like, oh, I'm actually like not causing other people hurt. And so, like, in your lives, like, has there been those moments where you're like, okay, like, we can leave this
Mhm.
thing behind?
Plenty. It's like
That all resonates.
yeah, that all hits home real well.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that popped up for me, and please like share before, but it was we were in our stage as well, like going and like experiencing life, and it was we were doing like a Europe trip, and we were in Barcelona, and it was one of like it was a really fun night. It was doing all the things, and then it was everything kind of came crashing down afterwards. Like it was just like this like party, and then all of a sudden like I remember it was like I passed out on like this dock and woke up in the morning, and there's these like fishermen in Barcelona just like fishing, and I'm like I was in all these like fancy clothes. I woke up, I'm like, where's Jess? Where's the phone? Like everything was just an absolute like yard sale.
Hmm.
And it was one of the big aha moments. I'm like, where is this path going to lead me?
Right.
It was a fear. I was like, if I keep living doing this, like what's going to happen? Like there could have been I essentially passed out in this random city and the other side of the world. Like the amount of risk that there was there, that was I was just so choosing to be naive about, could have got me in really big trouble. And that was a big thing for me. I was just like, hey, this needs to change. And it didn't happen quickly. It took me probably 3 or 4 years to get, maybe not that long, but it took me a
Yes.
couple of years to get into like a more aligned path. But it doesn't need to happen instantly. It just needs to be aware. and then from that point slowly integrate into like this new part of being. But we have to take the road. It's the journey back that is, or journey to alignment, that usually takes the longest. But first we need to know that we're driving our vehicle in the wrong direction, and then slowly move the boat around. Essentially, it's like, okay, it's going to take us a couple turns here in order to get us back to where we
Yes.
need to be, and then waiting for that progression to naturally take. So there's many moments, but that one in particular really, really stood out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think for me it's almost like the flip of that. So it's like, and I talk with clients about this all the time, but like, what can you fill up in place so that the other things just fall away? Your life becomes so full with the things that you're actually wanting to do. So you're going towards what you want. So, like, I'm thinking about now, one of the partnerships that we work with is with, it's called Wild Collaborative Harm Reduction Services. So we do at festivals and things, we host harm reduction. So we're like handing out harm reduction supplies and doing outreach. So it's like taking that part of us and shifting it, so it's like, okay, we still get to go and we listen to the music, but we're volunteering or we're
Yes.
working in that state. And so, and then being there for the people that was me in my 20s, like, let
Girl.
me be there for you, I will hold your hair.
Girl.
You know, so it's like kind of like filling up what we want to go towards, and then letting the other stuff slough off. Like, it just becomes, rather than like, I have a hard time letting go. Like, at the end of a party, I'm always like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want events to end. I'm always like,
Yes.
but it was so nice.
Yes.
So for me, it's like filling up that next bit so that I'm able to like release. So it's not necessarily like I'm letting go of this thing and see how that feels. It's like, I'm actually going to put something that I love in place of that and see how that feels, or like how much more connected. I mean, we've always been connected with nature, but that's really been something that's like filled life up for both of us, has been like high priority of like getting outside and spending that time and at like hours outside, instead of, you know, just a walk down to get a hangover Gatorade and a Slurpee or something like that, right?
Some taquitos, then go back to bed.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
I like that reflection too, because it is like sometimes it's hard to let go. And I think that's a big part of this process as well, is sometimes we're not ready to let go of like what is, because we're fearful of what can be.
Mm.
And on holding on to something new is easier to do rather than letting go. And just like anything, it's like if I wanted to grab a hold of this pen, but my other hands are full, like what do I have to drop in order to grab the thing that I really want?
Yeah.
And that makes things a lot easier. So sometimes the environment does need to change. Like we love music, and like it's like, well, how do we do music? Like how do we go see music and not party? It's like, well, just change your relationship to yourself in those states. So there's
Mm-hmm.
multiple roles you can have within the same environment. So choose the one that you want to be and aligns more with like your health and your well-being.
100%. Like I'm in that boat right now, where, you know, I kind of took a pause on going out. Like last year, I went to so many shows. I went to like, outdoor festival, like whatever. I'm now at a point where I'm like, I actually don't want to do drugs at these things. Like, I really just want to, like maybe like smoke a little bit of weed and
Mm-hmm.
go dancing. Like, I actually can enjoy and not feel like I need to be off my ass to. I said that really weird. You know what I mean? But like, just
All
be like,
welcome.
yeah, just like up to like have to be in these environments. Think about it. Like there's thousands of people at certain events, or hundreds if you're at like a club or whatever. And I had an incident last year where I went out and I just it was only like mushrooms, like nothing crazy, and it just was. And I'm a big boy. I can tolerate substances, but this was like so I had an out of body experience in like in the worst way. And after that, I was like, I need a break from things that are gonna like. And I don't know if it's just because like energetically you're more susceptible to other people's energies in those states. So I basically said to myself, like, you know what, like, let's just take a pause. And yeah, I honestly, I don't even miss it. Like, I really do enjoy just like going and fucking dancing all day and going home and not being up all night, unable to sleep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big
I
one.
don't miss those days.
No, shaking in bed. Yeah,
Girl.
that's not good.
No. And also, I can't handle it. I'm like, you know, I'm 37 this year, like, girl.
Yeah, like, just different things. I don't know, just it's proving to yourself that you can still have fun without these things too, right? Because in your 20s and like when you're in like late teens and 20s, it's just like I need these things to have, or not even whatever age, doesn't need to
Yes.
be in the 20s. In my experience, it was in my 20s, but whatever age, it's like I need these things in order to have the time that I'm looking for. And like once like I get to a place of understanding that I could still have fun, like proving to myself that I could still have a really great
A
time
hundred.
without the consequence too of just like feeling like shit. Just like, oh, I didn't know that this was a thing because the last 10 years of my life was dependent on this one substance or these substances in order to
Yes.
support that. So it's a cool like living and learning, man. We're all doing it.
Yeah.
Always growing.
Yeah.
Always growing. So I wanted to ask because you had put a note in your intake form talking about the men's groups,
Hmm.
and I wanted to talk about that because we're in this weird kind of back and forth right now with specifically with like men's mental health,
Mhm.
where we have this push for people are being more open, they're wanting to help themselves out and evolve, but then there's this like other side that is kind of holding on to this like old school way of this thought of like what it is to be a man.
Hmm.
And I wanted to ask you both because you're two sides of the same coin.
Mhm.
What has that been like working and facilitating men's health groups? And what has the reception been to your clientele?
So I've been working with men's group for a few months now. Reflecting back, kind of going back to like when it started, this was like a 2013, 2014 piece. I was volunteering at a walking clinic at the time, and like there's these guys, these men who were supporting men's group, and it's called like Men Without Hats. And it was the first time, like I was like, I was in my early 20s in my undergrad, and it was the first time that I saw men willingly arrive into a space and talk about their feelings. And I knew how important it was for me. Like I grew up in like the sports world where it wasn't like that. Like we like everything that men were like or boys were men who men were was a very let's talk about the things that make us laugh and like make us like have these funnies and like whatever that might be to feel like we're a part of something. And when I was in the men's without hats group, I'm seeing like when they take these coats off or the hats, I guess in this
Yeah.
situation, how much everyone like all these guys wanted to share. Like it was the first time I got exposed to like the sensitivity of men. And that was like how a large part of my journey evolved. And now that I'm doing these men's groups, it's a similar vibe. When the situation arises, when the container is created for men to be vulnerable, they want to be vulnerable, they want to be seen in the stuff that they put on their armor for, like they want to be heard and like acknowledged and seen for the challenges that they're going through in a society largely that they don't feel like they can be themselves. And whether that be true or not, it's the way that they're perceiving themselves, so it very much is real despite the truth of the matter. And so what we've been doing is pairing with a somatic healer as well, because a lot of like male energy, it's like solid in them. It's like I'm gonna hold on to this until the day I die kind of
A
thing. Like
hundred
we're
percent.
like like we're tightening up. So we collaborate with a somatic healer, a male somatic healer, and he will go through breath work, we'll do somatic exercises to get the body moving. And then once the body's moved and we shake things out, then people are ready to start talking. But it's that like it's the really tense that needs to be like alleviated, and then that safety starts kicking in. And as soon as the safety starts kicking in, it's like just like any human, we're all going through the same thing in a different way. So to have these men come in and from the ages of like I think 22 or 23 is our youngest, all the way up to like mid 60s. So it's like this wide range of men coming in and having these really beautiful experiences talking to one another. And it just for some of them, it's the first time they've ever been able to talk to a male with emotions.
Mm.
And it's amazing to see how changed and how supported they feel leaving the room afterwards. Like this like weight is off their shoulder. I'm like, hell yeah. Knowing full well that the next day they're going to be put up into the suits that they're wearing, get hardened again, and just go through that process. And that's okay. That's the role that they believe they need to be taking. And every 2 weeks we got to connect and let some of that out again, and then they go back, and then we come back every 2 weeks and let some of it out again. And eventually there will be less distance between who they feel they are and who they act or who they believe they need to be. But it just given the space to do so, it's a beautiful process.
I love that you're doing this work. It makes me really happy and I'm very proud. I mean, I'm not doing men's group work because that doesn't make sense, but here for support. And I think that all that you said resonates with any of my male clients. Like, we're in this state right now where men's mental health is really at a point where support is needed, and we can kind of like reframe what that looks like. And it's so fascinating to see how willing people are when they're in a safe space to bridge that gap. And I mean, in my practice, I often find it as like, you know, we're kind of honoring the masculine and feminine within all of us. Like, there's both of those pieces at play in every single person, and it's just kind of like coming away from that is that and this is this, and realizing that everything is very similar, while also honoring that, like, right now men's mental health in particular is really at this point that is needing support, and I'm here for it. Yeah, it's time.
So you had mentioned, Keegan, something about rigidity, that thing that people hold on to. And so in your experience, I know, listen, people have talked about this forever, like it's such a topic right now, but for you working in your field and your personal experience, like what have you found is the common thread of that inner rigidity of actually like letting go and stepping into like who they truly are?
Good question. What came to me is this: it's the safety and security piece. It's like feeling safe within their own system, within their own body, or within relationships. And a lot of men are having difficulties connecting with their pelvic floor and pelvis area. So that for yeah, and then many of us, and I've been on the journey for years now, trying to like loosen that up. And like I walk a lot of the time too. So a lot of the things that I do is tightening, but there's an emotional compound to that too. Like going into like the chakra system aspect of things, like that is the root chakra, is like where safety and security is from. So for whatever reason, if humans are not feeling safe and stable in whatever domain, there's going to be like tension there, because it's like I need to feel safe, so I'm going to keep working on to until I can feel this perceived security, and until it is achieved. And a lot of the times, like we like the men that I work with don't even know what that looks like, so they're working towards something that doesn't have an end gate. So there's no finish line
A
to it. So like,
hundred.
what am I working towards? Like, I don't even know where to go. And that's a big part of like the work that we're doing, is feeling safe while, and a big part of that is like relating to yourself to be able to communicate your needs to the people around you, so you can feel safe based upon the relationship you're having with your environment. And if we're not able to say like what we need, then our needs will never be met. Obviously, it seems so simple, but it's such a complex thing to understand, because it's, well, what if I say something that's going to be judged? What if says something that's going to make me less of a man? Like, what if I say these wrong things, or these people are fitting into molds that they don't actually want to do and they don't feel safe in? So they're always tight, and because they're always tight, then we're perceiving the world out of this tightness and rigidity, and thinking the world is a rigid, unsafe place. And it's this like compounding cycle that just keeps happening over and over again. And the work that it is being vulnerable, it's being emotional, being figuring out what safety means for you, and being able to communicate those needs appropriately to the people around you.
Hmm. I recently heard someone, I don't know where I heard this. It was like a podcast or something. And they were talking about how, it's to switch the verbiage from, and I'm not correcting you at all, but it's somebody else said this about switching the verbiage from like being vulnerable to like being like brave, to like actually say
Mm,
like, yeah, I am, this is how I'm feeling. And it's not like, and to switch that narrative. And that's something that could help
mm,
people's perceptions of self when it comes to asking for what they need. Because like really, like, I don't know, I'm very much like I'm not 100% this, but I can be very like, I ask for what I want. Like
mhm,
I'm like very open. I have to me, I need to communicate how I feel in order to
mm,
get out of this, so that way I can live my life and not be like constantly, in that cycle of overthinking, overanalyzing, and anxious, all of those things. And I look at like, my elders, let's say, I'm like,
mhm.
that's the template that I look at to not, I'm not doing that because I know that
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I love that
I love
shift.
that shift. Thanks for that, Gio. And the courageous, it just seems there's so much more action to do, right? And I think that's a
Right.
big part of this as well, is like being brave and like doing the things. And it's because it's an active process, and it's like the vulnerability just implies like submission. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna like be vulnerable and people get to see me. Well, it's like, well, no, how about courageous? Like, I'm gonna show people what it's like to be me. And yeah, really, and that's about language. It's about like choosing the language that fits and feels best for us. And that's awesome.
100%. And honestly, that's why when you guys came to me to talk about what you wanted to create together, I was like, this makes so much sense. And it's something that I actually want to do. It's, I've worked in so many industries now, like truly so many industries. And a lot of them are, they're like selling an idea, a concept, a lifestyle, whatever, for like the bigger brands that I've worked with in the past. And now over the last few years through Geographic, I've been able to work with people directly and help impact change in their lives to, like you said, be confident about their business and putting out in the world and actually make real change. And so having been able to collaborate with you guys on your brand is like makes so much sense for me on a selfish note. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly something I want to be giving my time and energy to. So
We
I thank
appreciate
you
that.
for coming to me. It was very nice.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Thank you. Do you have any upcoming retreats, any workshops that you want to plug that are coming up that people can check out online? I know you guys are out west in BC, but if there's anything that people can connect with you through the internet, if they're not necessarily in your neck of the woods.
The workshop that we're running at the end of the month, the plan is to continue doing those once a month. So the structure isn't fully set yet, but I know the first one is going to be about intuition and the gut, and they're all nature groups. So usually those would be happening the last Saturday of the month. So pretty excited about that. There'll be 3 hour groups outside. We breathe and hike and share food together and set intentions and grow community. So really stoked about that. What else? We'll be doing harm reduction at a festival here in July, Bachina Bay Music Festival. It's a really small, beautiful festival out on the beach and in the forest. It's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
And then we've got Still Standing Grief Retreat that's actually out in Ontario in
Oh,
Calabogie.
Yeah.
So that will be in October. And we're hosting space there. So I'll be doing more like yoga, breath work, Ayurvedic head massage, and then Keeks is going to be doing more of the talks. That is grief focused and really focusing on like grief as a universal experience, and doesn't necessarily need to be grief as in loss of a loved one, but it could be grief as in loss of a relationship, or grief from loss of circumstance, or big G, little g grief are all welcome. So we're really excited for that one. Yeah, which will be out in Ontario.
We have, yeah, the grief retreat in Calabogie will be a big one. We're really excited for that. Then we'll be having some online groups kind of starting in September as well. So keep an eye out for that as well. There'll just be like monthly check-ins like with the seasons, just being like what's happening now, what to expect when the harvest is coming. So hopefully just keep an eye out for that. At the end of September era, we're going to be starting to launch those, just a monthly check-in to connect with the seasons, connect with yourself, and any points and tips that could help you with what's happening in the world.
I love it. Honestly, you guys are spreading the gospel of Arrive Wellness all throughout Canada. This is lovely. Also,
Preach.
I'm going to sound ignorant, but where's Calabogie? I don't know where that is.
It's like an hour west of Ottawa.
Oh, so I was gonna say maybe we can meet up. I was like, that is very far from me. That's like
Yeah,
11 hours.
yeah,
That's a hike for me. So I'll see you next time.
yeah.
I
Sounds
was
good.
like, I'll come see you. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, we'll see how much time we have. We might be heading down to Halifax through Toronto, and if we do, then maybe we can kind of connect lower in the
Yeah.
southern Ontario region.
Toronto is much closer. That would not be an issue for me.
Okay,
So if you guys are there for even a few days, like I would totally come up and see you guys.
sweet,
Oh, amazing.
lovely.
Would love to see you.
Yes, honestly, because the last time I saw you in person was I think when I was in Edmonton when I lived there, which was 2018.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, I know, but actually, I was recently going through old pictures, and I found a picture from Pride that summer. And Jess, you were wearing
The
the
rainbow
the
unicorn.
rainbow unicorn shirt that I did, and so I still have that photo. I'm like, I look at it with such like, oh, that honestly was such a fun time. Like, even though it what didn't really work out for me long term, but I do have a lot of memories from that year in Edmonton. At the end of every episode, I've been asking my guests a recurring question. And this can go basically, we can go personal, we can go professional. But if you were to look at your life as a whole, like what would you say is the most on brand thing that you've ever done?
I think that like this is it. Like starting our business, it feels like that
Hmm.
has been so many years in the working. And like, when we met 15 years ago, we were totally on separate paths. And then we kind of started being like pulling from each other and being like, wait, this thread could go somewhere. And then now here we are launching our business, kind of like, let's say 5 months into the official, like nobody's in school, we are working professionals.
Hmm.
um, that feels pretty on brand, and like having this visual representation from what we worked with you, Geo, to actually reflect that back to us is pretty incredible. It's like a returning home.
You've
Yeah,
arrived.
we have. Look at
Full
that.
circle.
See what you did there.
Yeah. Honestly, I love it, and I appreciate you guys so much. But if anybody is looking to connect with you online, get to know more about what you offer, like where can they find you?
Yeah, we are on Instagram, so feel free to reach out to us on there. More commonly, there's going to be more connection with email. So if you want to head to our website, let us know. Contact us for anything, for any workshops, for groups, for one-on-one stuff. We're happy to, like, we are in the custom creation of conscious experiences right now, so we are doing retreats as well. If there's something that is really really connecting with like what we're saying, like we're happy to kind of connect and really curate an offering for their needs.
And what is that
Both.
website? Do you want to plug
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, arrivewellness.ca. So check out arrivewellness.ca.
I'll also put it in the show notes so people can click through to it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And we're found on Instagram at arrivewellness _
Amazing. And if anybody wants to connect with me, you can reach out to me through geographic.com to talk anything branding. Also, you can follow the podcast on Spotify. I'm on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a comment, a review. It would honestly help me tremendously. And I look forward to seeing what the two of you are doing out in the future. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to be part of the podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Always lovely to chat with you, Gio. Thanks
Yes,
for having us.
100%. Bye, guys.
Bye.